is coming in related to Kashmir. Let's talk about the Kashmiri Netas and how they have reacted. Well, breaking news which is coming in, Omar Abdullah is holding a roundtable conference with all the parties except for the BJP and the PDP. Is he then boycotting the government as if they were non-state actors while being soft on separatists? Well, that's the question. Well, on your screens you can see visuals of this, all-party meet, as Omar Abdullah says, where he said all the stakeholders are meeting. But interestingly, of all the invites which were sent out, none went out to the BJP and the PDP. Interestingly, the two parties which are which hold the elected, democratically elected government in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So on your screens you can see separatists of all hues and shades who are currently there enjoying this roundtable meeting of Omar Abdullah, the former Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, but it is the BJP and the PDP who have been left out. Questions are, on what basis did Omar Abdullah decide to bring about all the parties who are interested in this and decide to leave out the parties of the Chief Minister as well as the Prime Minister of this roundtable conference? And can this roundtable conference, which doesn't even take into account the views of the ruling combined of the Jammu and Kashmir state, can that really find a resolution, a solution to the problem and the turmoil of Kashmir? Well, questions that Omar Abdullah perhaps will have to answer regarding his piecemeal approach which he's come in. He's interestingly ignored the Prime Minister's unity call. The Prime Minister himself said everyone must unite together in order to solve the turmoil, and everyone must go ahead of politics and leave politics behind. On the grounds of that, unfortunately, there is Omar Abdullah who's held this Kashmir roundtable where he's left out the BJP and the PDP, the two parties which together rule the state of Jammu and Kashmir. So the question is, can these people actually put together and come up with a resolution? Let's go across to Arish Bilal, who's joining us from Srinagar. Arish, first of all, if you can give us an idea of the guest list in this piecemeal by Omar Abdullah.
Well, that's why this is actually the joint meeting of the opposition parties. They have come together to frame a political plan that, according to sources being presented to the President Pranab Mukherjee in the coming days. That's what our sources are telling us. And the meeting has begun about 2.5 hours earlier. And all the opposition parties in Jammu and Kashmir, that includes National Conference, Congress, CPIM, and some other smaller parties are putting their heads together to form a strategy that is going to what is going to happen, because there has been an unrest for 40 days now, and nothing concrete is coming from either the state government or the central government. And there were expectations that something concrete will come out from the all-party meeting that was held here, and also from the all-party meeting that was held in New Delhi, but nothing concrete coming either from the state government or the national government. Right. So the national parties have now come together to form a plan that is going to be presented to the central government.
Well, in fact, do stay on with us, Arish. Madhav Gopalakrishnan is also joining us, our senior editor. Madhav, the big question is, can a resolution be really found at a time when the two parties in the ruling combined are not even part of these talks?
That's the important point. You know, the big point is whether, once again, politics really at some level or the other has played a role, and ultimately it is Jammu and Kashmir and India's cause as far as Jammu and Kashmir, which has been put on the back burner, because clearly the all-party meeting that was called by the government, whether we're talking about the Prime Minister or we're talking at the level of the Chief Minister, clearly all of these efforts have been ignored. And the big question is, how will the opposition parties on their own get any kind of resolution if there's just no bridge, there's just no attempt at reaching out to the government, or whether it's the BJP or whether it is the PDP. If it's only going to be about one-upmanship, however will they resolve this issue? That's going to be an important question that will have to be addressed, because at this point of time, complete breakdown of any kind of communication between government and opposition, and it does seem that it is political one-upmanship that is ruling the roost. The big question is, when Pakistan has a completely united approach in putting India on the mat, within India we clearly seem to be divided, not just at the level of the centre but even at the level of the state. It is ultimately their own political concerns, their own political ambitions that seem to be really ruling the roost at this point of time.
And Madhav, it's especially unfortunate because all of this comes with the background of the Prime Minister himself calling for unity, asking everyone to rise above politics.
Well, absolutely. We saw the Prime Minister come out there and actually speak on this, saying that we all should be united when it comes to such issues. He has appealed for all political parties to come onto the same page, but that doesn't really seem to be happening on ground at this point of time, especially when we're looking at this kind of an opposition-only all-party meeting where several political parties from the CPIM to those of Hakim Mohammad Yassin as well as Engineer Rashid who are present along with the Congress and the NC at this particular meeting. The big question is whether, while trying to put the governments on the mat, the big question is whether we need to take a more united, a more inclusive approach on all angles, both the government as well as the opposition, and find some kind of middle ground so that at least in terms of the approach, there can be some kind of path that is found out. About over a month now since this kind of trouble has been there within the valley, it does seem that political parties, at least by now, should have thought of some kind of solution or some kind of ability to at least arrive at a solution, if at least come on the same page for the sake of the state and the nation.
Well, forget about finding a solution. It seems they can't even talk to each other across the table. Arish, a quick word from you. Any kind of justification coming in either from the Congress or the NC as to why the PDP and the BJP, the Chief Minister and the Prime Minister's parties have been left out from this roundtable?
Well, the reason is because when the all-party meeting was held in Srinagar, the opposition national conference had boycotted it. And only the Congress had attended and the smaller parties too attended it. And there were some suggestions which were given to the state government. And also at the national level when an all-party meeting was held, there were also some suggestions given to the central government. But the ground situation is that there has been no change on the ground. There has been 40 days of turbulence in Kashmir Valley, more than 60 killings now, and about 6,000 people injured. So nothing is changing on the ground. So now the opposition has decided that they will put their head together and try to chart out a political plan, and that can be presented to the central government. And there are reports that the memorandum can also be presented to the president of the country, and so that the unrest in Kashmir comes to an end. There's some dialogue process is initiated in Jammu and Kashmir.
And also, if I can bring in Madhav, it's interesting the kind of people that Omar Abdullah has sent out this invite, other than of the Congress, of course. He believes that it is the separatists who essentially are the voices of the people of Jammu and Kashmir instead of the elected representatives, ironically.
Well, absolutely, and this is really what is ultimately one question that will be asked is why they're soft on separatists and those who are very much part of the government who have to.
Well, thank you so much, Madhav, for joining us.